O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
If you're a Miami sports fan, there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Wear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Wear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding. Welton Roma has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Roma, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Roma can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Roma can help. Call 954-966-4646. The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All right. Good morning, one and all. It is beautiful day. It is Tuesday. Yes, sir. 10 a.m. And how about it? It is 68,800. We just tied the mark for Bitcoin right this second. 68,800. That was the high mark for all time. It just met it right now. Exactly 68,800. Wow. Been watching that because it just kind of, I tweeted out a little while ago. I was looking at all the movement that's going on, and I said, this seems like it's going to be another really green day today, and we're breaking records. Bitcoin at an all-time high in just any second now because it's at 800. Just once it gets to 900, that's it. It's over. I mean, in some other exchanges, it's over 69,000 right now. Like on Crow right now, it's probably at 69,600. But the legit one is the one I'm looking at right now, and we're still just under 69. So you know what they say? The speed limit is for sex is 68. Because at 69, you eat it. So, you know, it's just one of those things. So we are at 68.8. Oh, I'm looking at it. Come on. Break that record. Shatter that bitch. Let's go. Come on. Come on, Bitcoin. This is it's too good. It's the best season of all. It beats any season from any team we're having, the Bitcoin season. Forget about it. The ride we've been on now for 15 months. From December of 2022 till now, 14 months. No, 15 months. 15 months. This is the 15th. This is the 16th month because December of 22 and then these 3 months. So this is 16th month. You're going up, you're going down. What are we going to do? It's still stuck at 68.8 here. Oh, 68.67 now. Woo! I need 900. Look at Alex. He got in at 38. Good for you, man. Good for you. That was the dip that even if you were already in it, that dip, think about it. You got it at 38, Alex. That's 30,000 ago. Good for you, dude. You're like up 40% and you just got in. You're welcome, by the way. Should have listened to me back in December of 2022 when we were down to 16,000. Yeah, my oil is there. All right. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, tell you. Where are we at here? Come on, Bitcoin. 867 still. I need to move. Come on. Give me to 69. Shatter it, baby. Shatter it. Oh, man, this is 912. That's it. That's the record. That's it. 68 and 912. Live on the air, we all saw and witnessed Bitcoin's all new levels right there. Remember those idiots that thought it was going to go to like the 8,000 and 10,000? And we used to get those people all the time because it was easy when it was going down and it was down at 25 and 22 and 20 and 18 and 16. And people were, oh, yeah, no, it's over. Yeah, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not over. It's only just begun is what we keep trying to tell you. Like you're not late still in a Bitcoin. You'll be late when everybody else is buying, and that thing is going to be at 200, 300, 400, 500,000 down the line. Anyway, like I tell everybody, a buddy of mine told me I'm too late. I said, no, dude. I said, you're not too late. If you can, gather up a quarter of a Bitcoin, a fifth of a Bitcoin, that's going to turn into $250,000 down the line. In 10 years, a quarter of a Bitcoin or a fifth of a Bitcoin might be like $250,000 easily. So if you spent And at that moment, it was like in the 50-something, 60 range. I said, so if you spend 12 or 15,000 to get that, and it turns into $250,000, it does turn into a hell of an investment, right? He goes, yeah. And I go, well, then there you go. So you're not really late. Okay, for the average person to buy an entire Bitcoin is going to be impossible. It just is. None of us can do it. I can't afford it. I don't know about you, but I can't afford to buy an entire Bitcoin. So get as much as you can. It'll grow like crazy, as you can see. I mean, Jesus. Everybody that got it at 16 and 17 and 18, and it's at 68 now, 68,991, by the way. So it's about to hit 69. I mean, give me a break, dude. This is just absolutely amazing. It really is. Apologies, but this is good moment for yours truly and for some of you out there. I know some of you aren't in it, so it's kind of boring for you. Steven Gonzalez is in the house. He's the first one. What's taking so long for some moves? Oh, I already posted, Steven. Nobody's made moves, Steven. Free agency hasn't started, my brother. The only moves you'll see is something like within your team that you can do that. You can re-sign your own player. That's about it, but there's no free agent moves going on, my brother. Free agency hasn't started yet. So that's why there are no moves. So it's not a Dolphin thing. The NFL hasn't started yet. Steve Chapman is in the house. What's new with crypto and the Dolphins? Just looked for a crypto or Bitcoin emoji. There's none. What's up with that? Let's see. True Fin fan. I'm just here laughing at all the clueless fans freaking out over letting Wilkins walk. People acting like he's Donald or Sapp. I'm glad we don't have Tannenbaum. He would have given him $28 million. Look, let me clear the air right away here on something with Christian Wilkins. And a bunch of you that are complaining about Christian Wilkins. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb. Not all of you, but most of you phonies, okay, because you're a bunch of phonies. And again, I told you for a couple of months that Wilkins was gone, didn't I? I'm the only member in the media that told you unequivocally there was nothing. Nothing. I didn't fence straddle or anything the entire time. I told you he's gone. They're not going to re-sign him, right? So he's gone. All right. So let's really talk about what's going on here. Those of you freaking out, okay, most of you are a bunch of phonies, because one of the reasons I believe he was never coming back, okay, it's because in that building, they don't think he's worth it. And I think that there's a label of value that is not actually accurate put on Christian Wilkins. And I've never seen a player given more credit when he's not really the one that produces more than everybody else. You give Jason Taylor credit because everybody feeds off of him, because he opens it up for everybody else, because they're doubling him. They're worried about him. Nobody does that for Christian Wilkins. So here's my thing. I don't think the Dolphins believe he's worth the money. And I don't believe he's worth the money. I've proven it why he's not worth the money. He doesn't even get sacks during the big games. He doesn't really make an impact in the big games. If you really look at it, he takes advantage of, he's kind of a bully in a way. So here's my thing with this one. I'm going to go out on a limb again like I always do. I don't fence straddle. I don't do any of that shit. Okay? I think Wilkins will not live up to whatever contract he signs. How do you like them apples? So whoever ends up paying him $25 million, they will be disappointed, because he will not be the sack artist that you expect at $25 million. How do you like them apples? And so I really believe a bunch of you phonies out there that are complaining about Wilkins gone, you're the same people that will rip the hell out of the Dolphins in the front office for signing Wilkins to a long-term deal, and he doesn't live up to it. Do you know why I say that? Because you are the same group of people that were calling Wilkins a bust the first year or two. Did we forget about that? I'm sorry. Is the short-term memory out there? Is that what it is? You forgot Rick Sanchez was hanging around with San Pedro? Is that the way it goes? Is that where the short-term memory goes? Because for a certain time, you were calling him a bust. These are the same people, dude. The same exact people that are raising a stink. They raised the stink about him when he got drafted, that he wasn't worth the draft pick, but he became worthy of the draft pick. And now they're going to complain that you don't sign him. But maybe the front office, maybe I see something you don't see, right? That he's really not worth that kind of salary. So now when he goes somewhere else and he doesn't live up to it, all of you, just like my crypto foes, will be Homer going into the bushes. Because if Wilkins signs anywhere else and ends up with 5 sacks and doesn't live up to the contract, you're all going to go, oh, wow, the Dolphins got lucky, bro. These people are paying him $25 million. He ends up with 5 sacks. That's just not good. That's not enough. And it's the same person, dude. It's the same person that was calling him a bust. It's the same person that's complaining now. And it's the same person that can't wait to bury the franchise if they sign him to a long-term deal and they give him big-ass money and he doesn't live up to it. It's the same person, dude. Same freaking person. Time will tell, right? You know? So that's kind of the way we got to live with it. Time will tell. I kept telling you for months he's gone. They're not going to re-sign him. They're not going to give him a long-term contract. They're not even going to tag him. And, you know, everybody else didn't think that pretty much. Nobody in the media thought that. So we'll see, right? We'll see what happens down the line. A year from now, we'll have this conversation, or maybe by November, December, a good portion of the season's done, and you can measure what he's doing for his new team and see if it's worthy of the 25+ million that you have to give him. Let's find out. Let's find out. Okay. Let's see. Ray Sosa is in the house. Coach AJ, Brandon. Wilkins thinks he's worth more than he is. He isn't a difference maker regardless. Hopefully he gets what he wants elsewhere. He will. Somebody will give him some money. What I don't believe is that, oh my God, there's going to be this line. Here's the other thing, sensationalism. That's what sells, right? Right. They don't bother to actually look at the game logs and look that, he got most of his sacks against the Patriots, against the Jets, and against, what was the other shitty team? Patriots, Jets, and it's another shitty team where he got a majority of his 9 sacks. Like 6 of the sacks came, or 5.5 came in against 3 teams, and bad teams, 5, 6 sacks, whatever. It's crazy, but they don't look at that. And then they try to sell you. That's the other thing. You gotta add drama to it. Oh, he's gonna be so highly sought after. There's gonna be a line out the door. Yeah, keep listening to the agents. They'll tell you everything. Don't think for yourself. I don't believe there'll be this long line and there'll be 3 teams battling for his services or anything like that. Nah. It'll be a lesser team that needs to make a splash, and they'll sign him. Let's see what else. Good morning, Big O and Sean. Was finally able to take some profits from Shib. Yeah, you should. Take it right now, bro. I know you're not a financial advisor, but what do you think I should put it in on next? Ethereum. It's about to blow up. It's about to absolutely explode. Ethereum. Nice, safe, and it'll grow for you. Okay. Jeff in Long Island is in the house. Kyle Cockrell. Let's see. Sorry, what I was saying is, when will we be releasing players? That'll lead up to the free agent deadline. That'll happen leading up to it in here in a couple days. No big deal, bro. NorCal, 5 minutes till show kicks off. Time to wake and bake. Go Fins. He's up in Martinez, California. Stetson O is in. Think Blue Dodgers. Alexis Palenzuela. Captain Saki checking in for Tarpon Springs, home of the Fighting Spongers. Best show, period. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Let's see. Ray says, great win by the Panthers. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Today's 20 years, no cigarettes or tobacco products. Just say no to blunt wraps. LOL. Yeah. Yeah, just pipe it or roll it or bong it. But yeah, stay away from the tobacco. Yeah, no cigarettes. Cigarettes are no good for you, mate. Gus 1388. JM Person is in South Dakota. Thank you, JM Person. Pearson. Thank you, Mr. Pearson. I appreciate you. Tiger Shark Tony. Dude 67. Jay Gelfin. Taco Tuesday. Cosa Nostra. We're healing all right, man. We're healing all right. You know, by the way, just a tip for any of you out there, because the doctor told me, because, I got to take off the boot a couple times a day and rotate my foot and try to, keep moving, because you don't want it to get stiff and the cartilage and the nerves and all that kind of stuff. So then it's a lot harder, right? And so I did it for the first couple of weeks, where I would take it off and move my foot around, up and down, move my toes. All I try to move as much as possible, because your foot gets really stiff inside the boot when it's there all day, right? Here's a tip that they didn't tell me. He just told me move the foot. Not a good idea. What you do is you massage the foot. And that's been my blessing the last couple of days. I take off the boot and then I massage the foot, or my wife massages the foot and the toes and everything. And then you start to do your exercise, and brother, you start moving, and the foot it's felt the best it's felt actually the last couple of days. And I attribute it to giving it the massage now. So there you go. No happy ending, but it is a massage. Let's see. Kyle Cockrell, we will probably have a 20% correction on Bitcoin coming up soon, but it may not. I don't know if it'll go 20%. That's a lot. There's too much institutional money coming in right now. I can see corrections, of course. I agree with you. A 3, 5, 10% correction, maybe even 10. I don't even think that far. Unless some of the people that got in really early, they're like, you know what? Time for me to let me cash out. I'm cashing out really good. You know what I mean? I can see that, but nah, I don't think so right now, because countries are getting into it, and it's just, it hasn't stopped growing on the institutional side, the people that are buying Bitcoin. So until we have something slow up with that, I don't know how we get a big correction like you're talking about. I can see small ones, but I can't see a big one anymore. Not for now. Those doubting, you're losing out. Yeah, those that doubted have lost out so much, it's not even funny. It's a terrific Tuesday. Yes, it is. Let's hope that Terry is terrific and not terrible tonight for the Heat. Historically, Bitcoin has never made a new all-time high right before the halving. Uncharted. Dude, it's usually like 20, 30% out from the all-time high during the halving. We're passing the all-time high. Big O, thank you for getting me into crypto. Paul in Connecticut, I'm loving it. I'm obsessed. There you go. Let's go Shib, says Jonathan Jensen. Denardo Joseph is in. Alexis, I owe you a beer. No problem, man. My pleasure. I try to help. That's all. I know it's something that it's helping me. So why am I going to be greedy and keep it all to myself? No, dude. Share the love, bro. And that's it. And that's all, and it's not like I tell you to do something that I'm not doing. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that those of you that listened, you're all winning. You've all made money. It's all up to you. You're all so much in the green now. It's up to you now to sell and make your money however you want to do it. Lisa Rose is in the house. Crypto girl loving life. Wink, the cosmetic grandma. How's Bitcoin worth if there's a nucleus or a nuclear war? So what are banks then? Well, Wink, what are banks and ATMs? You ever thought about that? That's everyone. When there's a nuclear war, really? So let me ask you something, Wink. Why are you living? There's a nuclear war coming. Don't buy a boat. There's a nuclear war coming, Wink. Whoa, hey, yo. Don't finance that car, Wink. What if there's a nuclear war? Wink, you know, your kid wants to go to college? Fuck it. Look at your kid and say, what if there's a nuclear war and you're in a dorm having some beer? Get the hell out of here. Stay home. Go ahead, Wink. Nuclear war. You know how freaking stupid you sound, dude? If there's a nuclear war, everything ends. You dumbass. Que clase come mierda. I mean, the level of stupidity sometimes from some of you out there, it's impressive, actually. Because to be that stupid and to think that, honey, I really want to have a kid. Well, sorry, sweetheart. What if there's a nuclear war? Yeah, just add that thinking, Wink, to everything you do from here on out. Hey, fellas, let's go to Vegas. And there's Wink in the group going, what if there's a nuclear war? No, I'm not going. Lofi. Bull run should get at the minimum 5 trillion mark. Oh, yeah. Easy. We were over 3 trillion in the last bull run, right? I think, or close to it. I think it was. So hell yeah. Oh God, yes. It's not even close. Yes. Because Ethereum and Bitcoin alone are going to be so huge. And Solana is going to grow a ton in this, and Avalanche and Cardano. And the market caps of some of these things are going to just absolutely catastrophically blow up. Chad is in the house. Greg Souza, Christian, Drago, Jonathan Kago. Bit Futures offering 20% interest on Engine. On Injective, yes. Well, and that's liquid. Liquid staking is what you're talking about, Jonathan. Yes. Take advantage, dude. Wilkins oversold 25 million. Yeah, I'll pass. Yeah, I agree the same way. Greg Souza. Yeah, it costs too much. As much as I'd like to see him stay in Miami, he's got to go. Wish he could stay. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And by the way, the other thing is, why don't you tag him and try to trade him? They're not going to do that. Christian Wilkins isn't Aaron Donald or Chris Jones. He's not TJ Watt. Okay? Nobody is not trading for a non-sack artist, picks, and a salary. So then you end up in this hellhole that you tag them, and then you can't come up with the deal, and then you got to release him, and it's late in free agency, and you do the dick move, and this way you just part ways. You give him his opportunity to go get his money. He gave you his services. You drafted him. You paid him. You move on, and that's it. And you do the decent thing. But the risk of nobody, I don't believe Wilkins is valuable enough that somebody's going to give you picks and a big salary. It's just, I don't believe that. I don't. I think some of you've overestimated his value. QBs run into Christian. That's how he gets sacks. That's cruel. JC Norville. Let's see. Trade him for some picks since now. Not going to happen, bro. Not going to happen. Trucker Sean is in the house. Thank you, Trucker Sean. Appreciate you. But Trucker Sean, are you driving a truck? Because there's a nuclear war coming. I don't know if you should be driving a truck. San Pedro lived 2 blocks behind the house I was born in Hialeah. If that's who you're talking about, a lot of people have no clue what you just referenced. My family knew him very well. I didn't expect most people to pick up what I just said, but it's kind of the short-term memory thing. You know what I mean? People have short memories, you know? Same people complaining about Wilkins are the ones that were complaining about the run game. Yep. Big O, hear me out. Dolphin fans, theme song, Chic, Le Freak. Freak out. Let's see. Mickey J is in. Luther Small. Can the Miami Dolphins still trade Wilkins? They could try to do that, but it's not worth it. To tag him and to try to trade him, it's not going to happen. He's not that valuable. Magnus, Big O, I was okay with losing Wilkins if it meant keeping Hunt and Connor Williams, but if it's quite possibly, who told you they're losing him? See, that's what I love, Magnus. Who told you they're gone? No one said they're gone. Nobody at all. There, by the way, Connor Williams, the agent said there was no hurry to sign him. I don't. This is the part that just gets ridiculous with some fans. Now you start jumping to conclusions. Let's just talk about what really happened. Christian Wilkins. Nothing's happened with Rob Hunt at all. Nothing. Maybe he gets his contract. And so does Connor Williams. But let's wait till we actually see what happens. Maybe Hunt is the one that they tag. Because I've kind of talked about tagging Hunt, so that way you can negotiate that deal and you kind of control him. They don't need to do much for their cap room, Jimmy. That's done quickly. They've already they've already talked about that with the agents, with all whatever they're going to do. Brandon Shore already has that stuff planned, and it'll happen very shortly. You'll start seeing it all happen. Relax, dude. Magnus and Jimmy, you're panicking about something that you don't need to panic about yet. Okay? Mickey J is in. Ethereum and Soul for me. I'm a little bit of Ada and Rose. Okay, nice. Jermaine is in. He's not a Wilkins guy. Says doesn't think he's a difference maker. Ethereum ETF pushed back to, I believe, May. I think it'll be in June, actually. I still think they'll try to buy themselves some time. And I'm talking about our stinking government because obviously all these losers, Yellen and Biden and all these assholes are anti-crypto. Frankie Fresco is in the house. Horn Dog is in the house. Dr. Quit, have you heard anything about a potential to a big deal? Looks like it's going to take until the start of free agency to get. We'll see. It'll get done. I'm not even worried about it. Some of you are too worried about when it's going to get done or what. It'll get done. They'll get it done. I'm not worried about it. Brian Landis is late today, he says. Manny Rodriguez got the Sanchez. San Pedro, you stuck in there, bro. Big O, exactly. You don't want to short Bitcoin now. There won't be a big correction if ETF funds are swallowing it up like dips. Yeah, I don't expect it. And other ETFs are coming online in Asia and in Europe. It's happening, dude. You know, Argentina probably will start buying Bitcoin now that they have a surplus now, because Argentina hasn't had a surplus in their budget in centuries. And Mealy had a budget, and I can imagine that he's going to copy what's the guy's name? Bukele or whatever from El Salvador, and he's probably going to start buying. You know, in El Salvador they buy a Bitcoin every day. Every day they buy a Bitcoin. Smart, bro. Smart. So let's see what else. Good morning, Big O. I bought Shiba around 4 zeros and 25. Should I sell now or keep it? I would take some profits, is what I would do. You know, get your investment out. It's meme coins. I can't. I mean, listen, man. I've gotten shit myself. It's not something you can trust. So take the profits whenever you can. That's what I would do for that. Looking to buy a wallet for my newly purchased Bitcoin. Any suggestions? Yes, your Tangem wallet, sir. TANGEM Tangem wallet. Go to tangem.com and you'll or .io. Just put Tangem wallet in the search and it'll come up. Okay, don't ever hit the sponsored ones. Go down a couple and hit the real one. Okay. If you had 20K to invest in coins, what would you put in it all in Bitcoin or split it up? Cash the Jeweler, I've said this 1,000 times, my friend. 40% in a Bitcoin, 30% in Ethereum, and then I would put 10%, 10, and 10, the 30 that are left, I would put it in different altcoins. Example, ADA is a good one. Polygon is a good one. Cosmos is a good one. HBAR is a good one. Polkadot, even though it's up over $10 now, but I still think it's going to go to like 50 when it's all said and done. Chainlink, I think, is going to go well over 100. It's at 2068. Avalanche is a good one. Immutable X, IMX, is a good one. Gala Games. So that's what I would do. Every time you have the pie, 40 in a Bitcoin, 30% in Ethereum, and then 10, 10, and 10, and rotate the altcoins and put in Ondo Finance. I love Ondo. It's another one. Okay. So that's what I would do, my friend. All right, let's do it. Let's get to some Dolphins talk. Our Welton Roma Miami Dolphins report.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Roma is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Roma, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Roma can help.
All rise, football fans, as the Welton Roma Miami Dolphins report with David Veronis is in session.
Welton Roma has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Veronis.
All right, there he is, ready to go, locked and loaded. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. Getting a week away from free agency, actually within a week. So now things really heat up. We have this week kind of in between the combine when all this news and all these rumors are starting to come out. And then it's sort of the build up to it. The franchise tag deadline today at 4 p.m. So we already got some news on the Dolphins that came out yesterday. So some clarity there and find out some more around the league.
Got some news now, but we gave that news a couple months ago.
This has been the KSDT CPA Pro. Hear ye, hear ye. Ladies and gentlemen, far and wide, the Sportstradamus has a prediction for all.
Months ago, we gave you that prediction. We told you there'd be no tag, there'll be no long-term contract, and
the Sportstradamus has spoken.
So, I mean, I'm just saying, it's just, one of those things. So, it's it happens. But overall, what are your thoughts on not getting tagged and getting on the open market?
Big O, you haven't played those graphics while I've been on with you. So that threw me for a loop there.
I don't do the predictions in your segments. I do it, talk segments.
I love it though. I love it.
But
right. Well, you're not in the clear yet. All right, we still haven't seen him actually go to another team. The Dolphins still have another week where they are the team that can exclusively negotiate with him legally, and then Monday of next week at noon, that's when he can start legally negotiating with other teams around the league. So let's not count your winnings yet. I know you felt that the one way the Dolphins could maybe keep him, especially once you got the news that the salary cap came in $12 million more than everyone anticipated. Okay, maybe franchise tag at that point. But still, I always kind of also felt that in the short term that a long-term extension could be beneficial because you do lower the salary cap hit for this 2024 season. And then after that, you're going to be in salary cap hell regardless. So if you're just tacking on all the contracts later and then you do like the Rams after their Super Bowl after that, if you're really going all in on 2024, which it seems to be that win now window, then maybe you do that anyway, which after that, you're also going to be paying Tua. So then you got your big quarterback spending going on. So
you're playing all sides.
Holding out hope for my
I want your opinion. I don't care about all. I know what this, that, and keeping him there or that. What's your opinion on it? Because to me, it's the right move. That's all I know. This is the right move. He doesn't get big sacks in big games. He's not worth $25 million. I'm letting him go, dude. I'm sorry. And I actually think the same people complaining about Wilkins will be the same people that will complain about the Dolphins re-signing him to a long-term contract and giving him $25 million plus. And when he ends up with 5 sacks at the end of the year, they're going to be ripping the Dolphins for giving the guy $25 million and he gets 5 sacks a year. So for me, I don't think Wilkins is worth it. And I don't think he's going to live up to the contract that's coming up. So I think the Dolphins made the right move. That's the question I have for you. Did the Dolphins make the right move or the wrong move?
Well, the only thing about it is that you don't like to give up foundational pieces that you've collected through the draft. He was your 2019 first-round pick. You developed him over 5 years, and you still don't have a playoff win under him. So he was sort of this foundational piece of a rebuild that then you started getting to some consistent winning seasons, consistent postseason appearance seasons, still don't have an advance in the playoffs, and you kind of wanted to see that through. So that's not what you like as far as a team building aspect is your own homegrown talent that you've developed over 5 years to then let him go eventually in free agency. But at the end of the day, the Dolphins also have a guy named Zach Sealer who they're getting at about half of the price. And that's after his contract extension that was agreed to last training camp after Christian Wilkins.
Slightly better production and slightly better.
Right, and he actually had, despite Christian Wilkins' career high in sacks, Zach Sealer, who also had a career high in sacks, had one more than him. So, I mean, they're that salt and pepper duo. They complement each other. You want both of them sort of so that they can feed off each other. So maybe one might not be as good without the other. But
you ain't answering the question.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So at the end of the day, when I compare it to what you're getting out of Zach Sealer at the 11.9, and don't have the number off the top of my head, figure a cap number that he's going to be hit for 2024, which is after he has already signed. And then you're talking about $24 million, $25 million for Christian Wilkins. If you tag him, it's $22.1 million for 1 year, and then you might lose him the next. Then, yeah, I mean, you're talking about half the price. For Christian Wilkins is not double the player that Zach Sealer is. So it's a much better bargain, much more bang for the buck with Zach Sealer. And then comparatively, it's a high price to pay for Christian Wilkins. So it is a prudent decision from the Dolphins front office not to spend that much on a guy who's already 28 going into his first free agency dealings.
Yeah, although tackles tend to last a little longer. So 28 is really not old for tackles can play into their 30s. Shit, sometimes they reach almost 40 sometimes and they're still, somewhat effective. I mean, we had Keith Traylor here and he was close to 40 years old. Dude. He was still productive. overall.
Just a matter of his first free agency hitting at that age where he came into the league at 23 and then as a first round pick, getting the 5th-year option. So 5 years later, 28 is still old for hitting your first free agency in the NFL.
Yeah. So what do you hear about all the other guys, the Rob Hunts of the world, the Connor Williams of the world, everybody else that's kind of up for a contract? What are you hearing? Is there any talks, any progress? What's going on?
Yeah, I know from Robert Hunt's camp, they're just taking it one day at a time. So right now he's just chilling, kind of seeing what develops going into next week. And but I mean, I've always kind of felt that between Wilkins and Hunt, you got to get one, if not the other. So if you're not spending on Wilkins, I think Robert Hunt becomes a priority right now for this Dolphins team that right now has all 3 of its starting interior offensive linemen in free agency. Just as recently as last week, although we all anticipate Teron Armstead will be back, Chris Greer didn't want to, and neither did Mike McDaniel, want to give a definitive answer on his status returning as he contemplates retirement. So I know we're waiting on that definitive answer. The Dolphins need to hear that before free agency starts. So there's a lot of questions on this offensive line. So I feel Robert Hunt becomes an extreme priority. Connor Williams is going to be on the back burner. He's rehabbing, focusing on that. And then, maybe if that goes into June, that June 1 money, post-June 1 money that comes in from Xavier Howard could come through in that. Andrew Van Ginkel, I feel, certainly is a top priority. So I think the Dolphins need to do what they have to do to bring him back. And I think just I see him as a family man who is he's got his wife here. He's got, and we saw some of this on Hard Knocks this past season, got his kids here. I think he doesn't want to move. I know he tested free agency a little bit last offseason, talked to the Patriots, talked to the Raiders, ultimately came back. And with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb coming back from those serious rehabs, I feel like just from both sides, it would be really beneficial to have Andrew Van Ginkel there. So as far as like a top few guys, that's what I'm saying.
The one thing I did think that could happen is a tag of Robert Hunt. So that way they kind of can secure him and then work on the deal one way or the other, because the tag of Robert Hunt isn't a crippling tag. A guard tag is not a crippling tag. So that's one that you can at least still have the maneuverability and still do your work. Whereas a Christian Wilkins tag or a Tua tag or, a pass rusher tag, that's going to be a really expensive tag. The guard one is kind of manageable. Do you hear any of that? Could there be a tag before the deadline here on Rob Hunt?
Yeah, I've thought about it. Not hearing anything per se as far as whether they'll do it. These things, organizations try to keep tight to the belt until it does happen. Like even, I think we were seeing some Brian Burns will hit free agency reports, and then all of a sudden, he's getting tagged. So a lot of this is kept tight to the vest. So, but I've kind of I would hear that from you on this program, and then started wondering about that as a possibility too. So I give it an outside shot if the Dolphins want to go that route. So, and then if you tag him, then you could still try to work out a long-term deal with him. A guy who's been a very reliable right guard, hasn't been injured much, really just only had an injury for the first time this past year with that hamstring deal. So pretty much very reliable, and then solid in all aspects of his position.
Yeah, I'm a Rob Hunt fan, and I think that's, to me, I think that's the guy you tag to kind of control things, because the Connor stuff will take time. So then this kind of gives you a little bit of more focus on getting the Tua deal done, which, again, we got people freaking out that Wilkins is gone, and then we got people freaking out that Tua is going to get a contract. By the way, I thought I was the only media member that thought about it this way. And I was on the Sun Sentinel thing with Perk. And Perk has the same theory I do, that the problem is not Tua. The problem is Mike McDaniel and his scatterbrained self, that he doesn't, he's not really truly prepared on game day to do the things that he needs to do and put his team in position, including Tua, to be successful. So I was I was pleasantly surprised by that because I thought maybe I was the only nutbag that was thinking that.
Now, let's also say Mike McDaniel has gotten much more out of Tua these past 2 seasons than what was previously there in the previous OCs and Brian Flores regime. So
because he has that's because he has a sense of play design. He knows offense.
Yeah.
But he still doesn't have what's that called, structure. He still doesn't have any discipline. That's the fact that you know how to run an offense. Well, that's fine, dude. You can call plays and you can play design and all that. Now, do you know how to do it in the structure of a game strategically? Are you aware of what's going on in the game? We're late in the game. Let's pull these guys out. They're injured. Hey, we got to win this challenge. Do I have the right information? I got to get the play in on time. I'm giving up on the run. You know, it's his problems are not his intelligence. It's his organization. It's his discipline. It's the things that really are affecting this team on a consistent basis. His intelligence is there. His creativeness is proven. You know what I'm saying? He knows offense. But it's kind of like, okay, you're 18 years old. I would hope it happened a little earlier for some of you. But let's say you're 18 years old and you've never gotten laid in your life. Okay? And all of a sudden, you're somewhere and this gorgeous woman who's in her 30s is interested in you. And, you know, you're going for it, but you are completely nervous and you don't know what the hell you're doing. And she's running circles all over you. See, so it's you have the beauty, but you don't know how to really manage the motorcycle. You know what I'm saying? And that's
that was me early in college. Yeah.
Oh, and so right now, Mike McDaniel is that guy that hasn't gotten laid, and he's like trying to get laid for the first time, and he has no idea how to, you know, play the game. And that's his problem. You've given him, you know, a motorcycle that can do 200, but he doesn't know how to really handle all that horsepower. You know what I'm saying? And that's Mike McDaniel's problem. And I was very happy that Chris Perkins sees the same thing I do, because that's what's really, besides the bad luck with the injuries, that's really what's stopping the Dolphins from advancing.
We've gone off the rails this segment. I heard it. Chris Perkins wasn't making that comparison. I love it
because I saw this morning that there's going to be a little bit more Furones on the show.
Oh, yes.
And so it reminded me, and I go, I got to talk to David about this, because I was pleasantly surprised that Perk feels the same way I do, because I don't think I've seen anybody kind of say the same thing I do, that the real problem is Mike McDaniel, that he's got to get his shit straight. It's not about Tua, actually. It's not really about the offense. It's not even about the defense. It's about him on offense.
Yeah, I loved it when I saw that you were going to be on the show. So that was cool. I've been meaning to follow up with you on how that went. But I hear you on Mike McDaniel, and I mean, he is, you know, an offensive guru. He knows how to play design, the call plays sometimes in the greater scheme of the game plan. Could see some improvement there. I think he would be his own harshest critic on that as well. I think he's aware of that, and you know, when he identifies problems, he tries to attack them. Now, some of this stuff has come back over a second year. Same with other game management things, like the whole challenging system that they have in place. Obviously, didn't work in year 2 either, as he had the same challenge record. So still needs to see improvement on that. But I think, yeah, he's got to take an introspective look on certain areas where he can develop within the scheme of a game plan for sure.
Yeah. By the way, Sean McVay, I don't know if you saw this, but he hired a game strategist to help him out, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. McDaniel's a disaster in his game strategy. He has very little awareness of what's going on, and hell, he can't even get a play in on time. And so McVay obviously understands he has shortcomings. Do we know if McDaniel has something like that? Maybe he didn't tell anybody he hired one. Maybe they do have one, And if they do, by the way, if he's been there with them for the last 2 years, fire him because he sucks. Just like you should fire whoever's in the booth telling you about challenges because that guy sucks too. So do we know anything about that? Do you know if he actually has a game strategist?
Yeah, haven't followed up on that recently. I do know that there was a pretty good staffer who handled all this stuff that was previously with the Dolphins. And then sort of in the whole chaos of Mike McDaniel just got hired and just a lot going on. I think this staffer just had to move on elsewhere. He wasn't hearing from Mike McDaniel, and then just went ahead and found a job elsewhere in the NFL. And then maybe that's something that Mike is regretting at this point, just not having such a guy that is very much inclined in that aspect of game strategy and specifically the challenges. So I haven't followed up recently on what has been done. So that might be something worth looking into. So especially by the time we get into the season. So yeah, I'm going to be looking into that answer at some point. But yeah, I haven't followed up recently, but I do know he had a pretty good one that he could have retained, and then sort of in trying to formulate the coaching staff, prioritizing that kind of was on the back burner. And then someone just had to take a job elsewhere, just not really understanding, not really being certain of where his job lied. So, but it's definitely something to follow up on for sure.
Did you hear about any free agents at the Combine that they might be interested in?
Yeah, certainly. And one name that stood out to me who's not even right now currently a free agent, but we're going to be hearing about a bunch of whether it's cuts or guys available via trade. I had the name Harrison Smith floated around to me, safety, veteran safety. I mean, he's in his mid-30s now, but think about it.
The Notre Dame kid, yeah.
Yeah. Minnesota Vikings, multi-time Pro Bowler. Maybe he's trying to work his way to the Dolphins. I did mention him in a recent piece I put out, Sun Sentinel, things we learned at the Combine. So it was interesting to hear that the Dolphins obviously have Deshaun Elliott and Brandon Jones as free agents at safety. And Harrison Smith is currently under contract, but it could be a post-June 1 cut for the Vikings, or maybe a potential trade is sought. Just somehow he might be wanting to wrap up his career late in that career in Miami with a team that's trying to contend and could possibly look into the safety position.
All right. Are you expecting the Tua deal to get done before the draft? It ain't going to happen before free agents.
Right. That's kind of a tight window before free agency. I mean, right now there is no timeline on it, so it's hard to say whether it'll get done before the draft. I don't think that would necessarily be so much of a deadline that the team feels like, okay, that's somewhere where we want to get it done by. But the draft, it's a month and a half from now, a little bit more than that. So that's plenty of time, especially since we know the Dolphins, from Mike McDaniel to Chris Greer, there is a lot of eagerness to get it done, a lot of desire to get to his long-term deal in place. So, I mean, I could see that as a timeline. I'm not sure if everyone involved would necessarily have that as sort of an ideal window, but that would work for sure.
The Christian Wilkins divorce will obviously produce a compensatory pick.
Right.
But let's say you sign a Patrick Queen. I don't know exactly how the whole formula goes, but if you sign a Patrick Queen and lose a Christian Wilkins, you're really not going to end up getting that third rounder for Christian Wilkins. I don't know how it does. I don't even know if you end up getting something, it washes it out, or maybe it becomes a fifth or sixth rounder or seventh rounder. I'm not exactly sure. I've never been able to figure out that stupid formula for that shit.
Well, I'd have to research it more.
Yeah.
I know the 49ers always get all these compensatory picks, and talent goes out but also comes in. So there's got to be.
They don't buy a lot of free agents.
Yeah, I guess so.
They don't buy. In fact, what they end up doing is trading for them. Notice they traded for the running back. It wasn't a free agent. They traded for him.
Right. They traded for Christian McCaffrey. Trade deadlines ago.
They traded for the pass rusher this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
really most of their guys are homegrown.
They draft well outside of Trey Lance, but they
right. I mean, nobody's going to be perfect, bro. You're going to screw up. You're going to make mistakes, and so be it. But they had hit on so many that it's more about them losing and then just gaining. Whereas that takes several years to get into that cycle.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
There's coaches and executives that have moved on elsewhere. You know, the Rand Carthons and the Robert Salas and Mike McDaniel. So, yeah, I mean, they've produced head coaches elsewhere from their coordinator positions. Raheem Morris, who am I thinking of?
Miami is now starting to get in that,
yeah,
in that rotation. Although the last 2 years, because they traded some of their picks instead of picking players, that's going to set them back a little bit on the compensatory side. But if you're able to hit on your picks and you have your allotment of picks every year, then you're going to end up with those kind of compensatory picks, you know, and they're hitting on picks. So that's something that these guys do that, you know, they weren't doing in the past, but it's just a cycle that takes a certain amount of years. And that's why it's been happening to them. But they also don't spend a lot in free agency. That's right.
And the Dolphins have a void in this draft in the middle rounds. They don't have a third round pick. They don't have a fourth round pick. So after that, they have their first, have their second. After that, there's a big gap before that fifth round pick. They have a couple sixths and then the seventh. So, yeah, and there's a lot of prospects in that middle part of the draft that could be end of day 2, start of day 3 of that Saturday picks that I think could really benefit the Dolphins that kind of got a look at over there at the Combine. So I feel like a lot of guys that I'm like, oh, he'd be great for the Dolphins. And then you figure, well, but I wouldn't really use that second round pick. There's someone else I'd rather have. But then you'd have a big gap third and fourth. So it would be nice if the Dolphins get at least 1 or 2 picks in that range, whether it's by trading down, whether it's by compensatory selections, just so that they have some presence in that middle portion of the draft.
Yep. No, I'm with you there. All right, what do you got going on in the Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Yeah, a lot of feedback coming off the Combine. I just posted yesterday the things we learned coming off the Combine, prospects that had their stock go up at the Combine that the Dolphins could be interested in. And then throughout this week, we'll be leading into free agency. Myself and Perk will both be tag teaming to just preview free agency, different positions, and then get you set up for the big week that is next week.
All right, follow him on Twitter at DavidFaronis _ and catch him twice a week here doing his thing with the Welton Roma Miami Dolphins report. David, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you immensely.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Welton Roma, bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation. Call my guys, Jeff Welt and Daniel Roma. I'm telling you, save the number, even if you don't need it now. Maybe something happened to you and you're not sure if you have a case. Like I told you, the consultation is completely free. Pick up the phone and call or visit them in Hollywood. 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646.
This has been another session of the Welton Roma Miami Dolphins Report with David Faronis. At Welton Roma, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Roma can help.
They can help. Yes, they can. All right. Hour number 2 of the program, Manny Navarro is set to join us, and we'll have some fun, and we'll talk to Manny since practice has started, and we'll ask him what he's thinking about Cam Ward and other things since they're practicing there in Coral Gables. By the way, did you guys wait a minute. There we go. Sorry about that. Oh, he's there. Let's do it. Baby. All right, let's talk a little Canes football with our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. If you're a Miami sports fan, there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Wear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Wear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All right. How you doing, my man? I know you're not doing as good as I am.
I know you're having a great run here, right, with Bitcoin, and I mean you're on fire right now, brother.
All-time high, 69,200, bro. All-time high.
You were the hottest man in South Florida right now, man, when it comes to Bitcoin.
Right. Damn right. Panthers ain't got shit on me, dude. I'm having a way better season than the Panthers. That's for sure. And that's a pretty damn good team, by the way. Those Panthers are impressive, man. That was good yesterday against the Rangers, actually. All right, so you had a new Ranger in town in Camp Ward. I know you don't watch a ton of practice, but what did you see?
Well, we got a chance to watch about 7 periods, which included Cam Ward running through all kinds of little silly pregame stuff. They kind of knock him with a stick and kind of get him fired up. Like trying to knock the ball out of his hands and little tackle dummies, that kind of stuff, and then throwing the football. So I did get to watch him for 7 periods. Super impressed with his accuracy. I think as a guy who's gone to a lot of Miami Hurricanes practices for many years, went through the Tate Martell ordeal where the first day there was wounded ducks flying through the air, watching him throw the football and seeing some other guys who just did not look the part. He very much looks the part of an elite college quarterback. And I'll say this for Reese Poffenbarger, the other kid that they got out of Albany, he's not bad looking either. And I think the coaching staff's really excited about him as a backup potential starter for 2025. And so I think, money well spent. They went out and spent close to $2 million to upgrade that quarterback room. They upgraded the quarterback room.
The other thing I saw on video, Cam Ward's a little bigger than I thought. When I saw him body-wise, I was like, okay, this kid's got some thickness. So at least he's not one of these guys that you worry about. He can maybe take a hit or two and he'll be all right. But I was also very pleasantly surprised that when I saw the body, I go, okay, this guy's got he's got a frame. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, about 6'2", 225, thick, not a thin build whatsoever. And so that's encouraging. We've talked about his fumble issues in the past, balls getting knocked out of his hands. Hopefully that's something that they can address here because I'm sure they're going to use him in the red zone. He ran for 8 touchdowns last season at Washington State. So he's a guy that will probably run a little read option near the end zone and try to take it in the end zone himself a few times. So but yeah, I think, look, he very much looks the part. Ja'Cory Harris, former Canes quarterback, was there yesterday watching practice. I talked to him briefly, and he said, yeah, guy looks like the real deal to me. Every throw he makes is exactly where you want it to be. So, a lot of people were impressed with him, and I think his body type, his size, everything, he looks like the total package.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm trying to reminisce that incredible Northwestern class of Ja'Cory's. Yeah.
That 2008 team that I went to Texas to go watch in their senior year of high school, and then they come to Miami, and really Sean Spence, I think, might have been the only one who lived up to the hype.
He was the only one that actually even made it to the NFL. Steelers, I think.
Well, you had Brandon Washington, I think, get drafted as well. He was an offensive lineman, but low, day 3 guy. I think it wasn't Aldarius Johnson. It was the other kid, Tommy Streeter, got drafted. You had a few of them get drafted now, but none of them had prolific NFL careers by any means.
No, only the one kid at least played some, and it was a decent player. He was the only one. But man, that class was so hyped up. All right. And anything else you can hype up from yesterday's practice?
Well, the receivers, I mean, Xavier Restrepo and Jacoby George, maybe it's just because the DBs aren't very good, but they made them, first day creating tremendous amount of separation, and Cam Ward throwing the football. I mean, it looked super easy for those guys, how they made those throws and catches. I thought Zay Horton, who's basically replacing Colby Young as the big outside receiver, physically he looks the part. Kid that I think only had 13 catches last season. I like him physically. I think he looks the part of what you need that outside receiver to be. So I think they've got a solid three. I thought the freshman JoJo Trader that we've heard a ton about looks very much like a guy that can help them this year. So receiver, to me, quarterback, both of those look really, really good. You had 16 guys that I counted that were out because of surgery or injury, including the Maui Goa brothers, who are going to be a big part of this team in the fall, obviously. So, it's not everyone is out there. They're not at full strength, but, I thought offensively they look good. Samson Okunlola, the big 5-star offensive tackle they got, not this last cycle, but the one before, he's back. He's running first team left guard. So clearly Miami's trying to make sure they get their money's worth with that kid at left guard, having him line up next to Jalen Rivers. So, left guard is one of those vacancies that needs to be filled. The Matthew McCoy kid, who was sort of the 6th offensive lineman, was out there at right tackle in place of Maui Noah. So, it looks to me like offensively they look like they've got it together. I would say the one area I'm worried about is DB.
Corner. Yes.
Corner and safety.
You're telling me the receivers are looking good. I'm going, well, then do the corners look bad?
Damari Brown, who I think is going to be their number one cornerback, the sophomore who started 4 games at the end of last season, and he's 6'2", 195. He's got the prototype body and speed. He's not out there for the beginning of camp. He did some limited work yesterday. I think he will be back for the spring game. So you have him and Daryl Porter that are 2 starting caliber cornerbacks. You got the transfer Mish Powell from Washington, who was playing both slot and safety. But Restrepo, I mean, him and Ward hooked up. I want to say it was about a 40 or 50-yard touchdown, and Restrepo just soared over that Mish Powell kid and made a ridiculous catch in the back of the end zone. And I thought, wow, okay, Mish Powell kid was a starter on a team that reached the national championship game, and played a whole lot for Washington. And you just had Restrepo kind of embarrass him with a great catch in the back of the end zone. So maybe they need to still go out there and spend a little bit more money on DBs here in the next transfer portal window. Oh, it's funny how we can talk about that now in college, right?
Now we can openly say, well, they money.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was like, well, they got to find a paper bag and stuff in a couple bucks and go find somebody out there to get it done. All right. Facility wise, I always ask you about that. Anything new?
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Well, I didn't see any construction where I think it's supposed to start, where they're supposed to start building the new football forever facility, as they call it, that'll be built in the next 3 to 4 years. There was, however, a ton of construction going on campus. As soon as I walked out of the indoor practice facility yesterday, I started walking towards the area where they've got some coffee shops and places to go hang out. And you walk away and you hear nothing but drills and hammers and all kinds of stuff. So there's all kinds of new buildings that are going up. The last time I talked with somebody in Miami's administration, they told me, look, we can only do so many projects at once on campus. So eventually they're going to get to it. I think the money is there. Obviously, they've had to raise a ton of money for NIL and everything else. I think it's just an issue of, finishing some of the other projects on campus. It's still March. And this is still 3 to 4 years away from being built. So, but they're going to get to it. I keep being told the same thing every time I ask. They will start as soon as they can get to it.
What are you working on the athletics so folks can check you out, my friend?
Well, I just had my takeaway story post yesterday. A lot of things that were said about Cam Ward and how impressive he's been since his arrival. A lot of leadership in that regard. Things that I think Miami's hoping he can maybe make up for. Tyler Van Dyke wasn't necessarily the most talkative, hey, let me take the team by the horns. I think Cam Ward is probably a little different in that regard. Taking offensive linemen out to eat with all of his money, inviting them over to his house, inviting over all the receivers and running backs and tight ends to his house for the Super Bowl. So he's reinvesting that NIL money into his teammates and treating them well. And so I think that's something that people probably want to read a little bit more about in The Athletic. And then I spent last week going to a couple of combines and camps, high school recruiting. I went to IMG Academy last week on Thursday. Sunday, I was at the Under Armour camp in Miami and watched a bunch of kids there. So I have one story already out, the one from IMG Academy. I'll have another one on the Miami camp. I talked to a bunch of analysts today, and I know people say, well, what do we care about high school recruiting anymore? Look, man, you still want to be the first one to get them out of high school. You don't want to necessarily get them on the rebound. If you can get them the first time around, they're good.
You're not losing them all, bro. You're going to keep them too. So
yeah. So really good year for wide receivers and DBs in 2025, and some really interesting standouts. 2026 class, a kid that I was really impressed. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Sean Taylor in terms of the way he's built and can play running back, safety, that kind of thing. So you want to read about those kids in the future, check out The Athletic.
There you go. And, of course, follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. And remember, at caneswear.com, you can use our code BIGO10, and you will get 10% off when you go online at caneswear.com. And over $99, you'll get free shipping. If you go in personally, all right, you use our code BIGO10, you will get 10% off. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up on Friday, my friend.
All right, brother. Good talking to you. See ya.
Got it. There you go. Get your Bitcoin.
If you're a Miami sports fan, there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Right. By the way, I want to give the people in Miami Beach mad props. I don't know if you guys saw this, okay? But they put out a video for the for all the idiot spring breakers, because they've got these animals running around and doing all kinds of stupid shit, and so they want to kick out the spring breakers, right? So they created a video.
Hey, we need to talk.
This isn't working anymore.
And it's not us. It's you. We just want different things.
Our idea of a good time is relaxing on the beach.
Hitting up the spot. Or checking out a new restaurant.
You just want to get drunk in public and ignore laws.
Do you even remember what happened last March? That was our breaking point. So we're breaking up with you.
And don't try to apologize and come crawling back. This isn't safe. So we're done.
And just so you know, we're serious.
This March, you can expect things like curfews, bag checks, and restricted beach access,
DUI checkpoints, $100 parking, and strong police enforcement for drug possession and violence.
Whatever it takes, because it's time to move on.
Maybe we can talk when you're done with your spring break phase, but until then.
Mike.
Sorry, when they kicked us out in the 80s in Fort Lauderdale, we were just partying, dude. There were no guns. We weren't hopping on cars. We weren't shooting people. There wasn't all kinds of fights. We weren't doing donuts in the middle of Miami Beach, terrorizing residents. We weren't doing that in Fort Lauderdale. None of that. And they kicked us out. But these people are flat out animals. Okay? Scumbags that are coming to Miami Beach. Because if all you want to do is commit crimes, yeah, dude, great job by the beach. Great job. Bring in a different clientele. Look, man, I rarely ever go to the beach. I went for the first time in a couple of years when I took my wife for her birthday to the Versace home, where it's a restaurant now. And so I hate going to South Beach because it's always packed and it's always a pain in the ass. But on these weekends, it just gets to a point where it's just ridiculous, bro. They're a bunch of animals. So Yeah. Get rid of these scumbags, dude. You don't need that kind of shit. Plus, there's a lot of people that live there, and they don't need that. I know it's going to suck for some businesses because they're going to lose some money, right? But South Beach is made for a higher clientele. It's not really made for punky college kids and some high schoolers that are, going to, because that's what I did when I was in high school. I would go to the Strip during spring break all the time. Of course. So that's what you're getting in South Beach. You're getting the college kids from all over the country. And I'm sure you're getting some high school kids. You know what I mean? And that's just a terrible element, unfortunately. Full of criminals, full of garbage. And they don't know how to just have fun. That's the problem. So good job by the beach, dude. Great job by South Beach. Now they got to follow through now. So make the statement and move on. Anybody see, I only saw it because I saw the highlight, because CNN and Fox are two things I don't like watching, but it was hilarious. As Jake Tapper had Nikki Haley on. You got to hear this. This is hilarious. Let me lower my volume here. Here we go. Hilarious. Get ready. If you're driving, you need to pull over because you might crash.
Explanation was not they didn't like Donald Trump. They said he participated in an insurrection. And I have to, an insurrection. And I have to say, I got up at 5 this morning to do Casey Hunt's show, and I'm exhausted. So explanation was not they didn't like Donald Trump. They said he participated in an erection. And I have to, an insurrection. And I have to say, I got up at 5 this morning to do Casey Hunt's show, and I'm exhausted. So explanation was not they didn't like Donald Trump. They said he participated in an erection. And I have to,
with Stormy Daniels, he was in a erection. On January 6th, it was an insurrection. But yeah, that was funny. That was funny. And Haley kind of kept her cool. Like, I would have laughed if I was I would have laughed, but she can't. She's got to try to stay stoic throughout the whole thing. Oh, man, that is so awesome. Anyway, Sami, stop going to South Beach, and I recommend people not to go there. Okay. I don't know who Sami is. Frankie says, I think Miami fan base should take a video out too, breaking up with the Dolphins. That would be fun. I could go for that. Ocala Joe in the house. Big O, early good morning from cold Las Vegas, getting ready to head out to Hoover Dam. Hope your foot is getting better. Yes. And have fun at Hoover Dam. Take the tour. Okay? I know you're probably just, there's a good chance you're just going to go over to the Hoover Dam and check it out. But make sure you take the tour. Okay? It's worth it because they take you down into the, bowels of it all. You get to see these generators. They've got like 8 of them, 4 on each side of the state. And the generators are like so enormous. It's like a 4-story house or something, each generator. I mean, it is ginormous. It's a lot of cool things. The AC down there under the dam, they use the water. So they run water through tunnels, and then the water running creates air, cold air. And then that's what gives you your air down there. It's pretty cool. And then you got to also, if you're still watching, I don't know if you're still watching, but you also go to the Pat Tillman Bridge. Okay, so once you check out the Hoover Dam, you then go above, you'll see a bridge. Drive up to it, and then you can take a walk across the Pat Tillman Bridge and look down on the dam and everything. And it's really, really cool sight. Obviously, Pat Tillman, everybody knows about Pat Tillman, especially in the sports world. So that was obviously put in his honor. But if you're going to do it, try to do the tour. It is well worth it. I know it's like $35 or something, but it's worth it. It really is. There's a lot of great information, a lot of cool stuff to see how the dam works and all that. And then obviously check out the dam on the outside and then go to the Pat Tillman Bridge after that. And you're complete. You are complete. So there you go, Calijo. Hope you're still watching and you got that. Because maybe you don't know about the Pat Tillman Bridge and don't realize it. Let's see. What else do we have here? Miami Beach is about to make spring breakers invade Broward. Well, Broward is also preparing too. But, yeah, that won't last long in Broward. It won't. Remember, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. After hitting an all-time high at 69, we are now at 65. It has dropped 4,000. So a nice little dip. You know what we say for you newbies about dips. I love that. That is so cool. All right, what else do we have going on? Oh, yes, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. And John Young, thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo. You say Wilkins don't produce in big games. What about Tua? I don't know. You tell me. Was the Baltimore game last year not a big game, down 21? It's not a big game? Did he not produce there? Did he not produce against Detroit? Right? They came back on that one, right? This year, yeah, they lost a lot of the big games. Was it his fault? I don't know if I would call it all his fault. Maybe it was the whole team. In the Kansas City game, it wasn't his fault. But you can conveniently leave that out, right? Because the Kansas City game, the first one I'm talking about, not the playoff game. But the first one, he made the throw to Tyreek, and Tyreek dropped it. And then Tyreek fumble led to a touchdown. He lost that game all by himself. Tua had nothing to do with that Kansas City loss. He played as well as Mahomes did in that game. But that's all right, bro. You know, it's all good. Wilkins has not ever been a difference maker. Ever. He's been a good run stopper. He's not a difference maker. Here's what I would tell you, okay? Because I get it, man. We got the people that don't like Tua and you don't want. But I'll put it this way, okay? Tua leads the NFL and all quarterbacks in certain categories. And he's easily top 3 or top 5 in every other category in the quarterback. Is Wilkins that? Does Wilkins lead defensive tackles in anything? Is he a pass rusher galore? Is he that guy? I must have missed it. Does he have more tackles for losses than everybody else? Does he have more fumbles than everybody else? I'm just wondering, is Wilkins considered, does he have top 5 stats anywhere? Because Tua has them. I don't know. You asked me a question, right? I answered it. Now I'm asking you. Where is Wilkins in that case? Good player, very good player, not a great player. Not a great player. And he's never even had a season like Tua just had. And my favorite is he doesn't win playoff games. He's been to one playoff. I don't. The only quarterback that's ever judged by his entire career that he can't win playoff games is Tua by one game. Nobody says that about any other quarterback. The same idiots that say Tua can't win playoff games and he's only been to one, they don't mention anything about Lamar Jackson. A guy that has a losing record in playoff games, and he has a way better team. I saw him hang out for 4 or 5 seconds back there to throw the ball. Tua could never do that. Never has that. But it's interesting. Like the other guys that choke all the time, but yet Tua can't win playoff games and he's only been to one. So that's how we're going to judge him? That's the problem that goes on with all this. So, Let's see. No Doubt, thank you for the love in the super chat. Sharing some gains. Gracious. Thank you, No Doubt. Appreciate it. A lot of you should be enjoying them gains. Let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. Why don't we? Alan Blanco and the great people at 3A Graphics in Hialeah, custom printing and embroidery for your company, your club, your fantasy league, whatever it is you need, man. Call the people at 3A Graphics, 786-618-1443. Panthers over the Rangers last night, 4-2. Tonight, back-to-back, they're in New Jersey to take on the Devils. 7:30 tonight, Pistons and Heat at the, what's it called? The Kaseya Center. 7:30 tip. Miami, by the way, is favored by 11.5 in that one. Pistons are 9-51. Also, Sunshine State Tournament, NSU, Nova taking on Edgard College, and that'll be at 7:30 p.m. That is your 3A Graphics sports calendar. All right. You know, we like also finding who is our MVP, you know, and last night, I got to say, we have a Cutter's Edge MVP of the night.
Who's last night's MVP? For your complete landscape solutions anywhere in South Florida, there's only one MVP. CuttersEdgePro.com. Here's our CuttersEdgePro.com MVP of the night.
Apparently, Facebook and Instagram are down worldwide. All right, Cutter's Edge Pro, they are down with doing great work, baby. Okay, that's what William Quigley is all about. And he is an MVP because he and his company have been creating masterpieces all throughout South Florida, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. Plenty of businesses, HOA complexes, and homes have improved their value by cutting Cutter's Edge Pro. And by the way, even if you have landscaping, but you don't maintain it very well, if you need some help in maintenance, Cutter's Edge Pro can help you out. Tree trimming and removals, Cutter's Edge Pro can help you out. Call William Quigley and the great people at Cutter's Edge Pro, 954-472-0622. That's 954-472-0622 for CuttersEdgePro.com, our Cutter's Edge Pro MVP of the night. Come on, man. Reinhardt. Reinhardt has been an absolute monster. Last night, 2 goals against the Rangers. He now has 44 goals and 30 assists. That's pretty amazing. 44 goals and 30 assists. Reinhardt, by miles, has been an MVP for this team this year. And there's no doubt last night he was our Cutter's Edge Pro MVP of the night.
The MVP of the night is brought to you by CuttersEdgePro.com. Servicing HOAs, condominiums, townhomes, commercial properties, corporate parks, and malls throughout South Florida. CuttersEdgePro.com. Providing South Florida MVP performance every day of the year.
Gotta say, I will tell you, those of you that are freaking out about Wilkins, it's humorous. It really is. Hottest. People think he's going to be the hottest free agent target out there, or one of them. I doubt that too. Will he get a big deal? Sure, he will. There'll be a desperate team that needs to make some splashes, and they'll sign him, and they'll expect him to be even better than what he was this year. And I don't think you're going to get better than what you got this year. But I love watching you people lose your minds. I have to tell you, it is entertaining watching fans lose their minds about a guy that those same fans used to call a bust the first couple of years. It's hilarious, I got to say. By the way, just a little side note for you all out there, you know, because some of you still may not believe in crypto or the blockchain, or which is the future of everything. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates have announced a creation of an independent payment system, because they're not using the dollar anymore, based on cryptocurrency and blockchain. So if you keep thinking that that's, not the case and not the future, just want you to know, there you go. Pay attention. It's happening right before your eyes. Who's at fault for Tua not having the type of line? They got injured, Basketball Jones. What type of line? Connor Williams was there. And then Eichenberg actually did a decent job, but then he got injured. Isaiah Wynn was doing a good job, and he got injured. What are you going to do? Rob Hunt missed a couple games. Shit happens, dude. And the backups actually did a pretty decent job. You know what I mean? Do they have to get better? Yeah. But injuries is what killed them more than anything last year with all the guys that went down. Let's see what we got here on John Young says, you say Wilkins don't produce in big games. What about Tua? I want to thank you because I don't know if I thanked you. I addressed it, but I don't know if I thanked you. So thank you for the super chat as always, or Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. And now that there's a Bitcoin dip right now, perfect time to send in a Bitcoin donation to the show. Cash App or Venmo. That's Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Kirk Cousins, according to Pro Football Talk, could be headed to Atlanta. Rich Eisen says that the New York Giants, I mean, I don't know if this is shocking news, but they have buyer's remorse for giving Daniel Jones the contract. Really? Did anybody watch the Jason Kelce retirement press conference yesterday? Man, that shit was emotional. That was emotional. That's the kind of guy you really want, representing your team. Broncos to cut Russell Wilson. Sean Payton hated the guy from get-go. He probably in his hiring said, hey, this is not going to work out. Oh, but try it for a year. Okay, we'll try it, but I just want you to know. And he treated him like shit. And Russell is not a bad human being, dude. I personally, for me, I think Sean Payton's an asshole, to be quite honest. But now that team has got to swallow $85 million of dead salary the next 2 years. That's a lot of dead space that you will not be able to use on player salaries. 35 years old. He didn't play bad last year, but he's not the guy you're going to build around. So it had the only type of teams that are going to sign Russell Wilson is the team that is trying to develop a young guy and he's a bridge, or there's an older team that just doesn't have a quarterback and needs to try to make a run, and they bring in a veteran to just try to help out, and that's it. And so you have to try to think, what scenario is there a team that can be all right, but it just needs a veteran quarterback, and maybe it'll work out? Or what team has a young guy that they need to develop, and Russell can play 5, 10, 12 games before you throw the young guy to the wolves? That's kind of what it looks like. But man, $85 million of dead cap money. Wow. That's some ugly shit. Let's see. Williams is great, but he literally can't snap the ball. He can snap the ball. He doesn't have a bunch of bad snaps. I mean, just one bad take after another. Basketball Jones. Okay. Maybe stick to basketball because you certainly don't know shit about football. Drago Bigo, I'm convinced most of these so-called fans don't know how to watch the Dolphin games. Yeah, no, there's a lot of fans that don't like. There you go. Basketball Jones doesn't really understand the game. Like, Connor Williams doesn't have a bunch of bad snaps. That's not the problem with him anymore. Okay, the first year there were a couple bad snaps, but now it rarely happens. And it's not going over the head or anything. It's just a little bit off or something. But yeah, that's just, again, people that just lack knowledge and really don't pay attention to what's really going on. Let's do this. Let's get to some birthdays today on March 5th. How about that? Let's see. Damn, really slow to start off. Eva Mendes. There we go. Now it picked up. There we go. In a smoking hot way. Eva Mendes is 50 years old today. Harry Maguire, soccer player, is 31. Justin Fields, quarterback, is 25. Joel Osteen, the religious leader, is 61. Let's see. Tina Marie. She was born on this date in 1956. We lost her in 2010. And I got to tell you something. Tina Marie is one of the most underrated artists in pop music history. Okay? She can sing, rap, write her own music, play instruments. She was, I'm telling you, she was a badass in her day. So rest in peace to Tina Marie. Andy Gibb, also born on this date in 58. We lost him at 30 years old in 1988. Those are your birthdays today. Let's go with today in music history. We start off in 1971 on this date when Led Zeppelin performed Stairway to Heaven in a concert for the first time ever at the Ulster Hall in Belfast, Northern Ireland, on the first date of their Back to the Clubs tour. They also debuted Black Dog, Going to California, Rock and Roll at the gig. And I wonder if you, like, when you watch that, do you realize what you're watching and what it's going to become? You know, like, fuck, that's Led Zeppelin. In 94, Jefferson Airplane singer Grace Slick was arrested for pointing a shotgun at police at her Northern California home. She blamed the stress she'd been suffering from since another home burned down a few months earlier. In 82, actor, singer, and one half of the Blues Brothers, John Belushi, died of a drug overdose. His tombstone reads, "I may be gone, but rock and roll lives on." And in 2002, the first episode of the hit MTV reality show, The Osbournes, aired on this date. And that's what happened, my friends, in music history. How about that? Okay. By the way, Lizzie Hale, Hailstorm, got a new tour out with I Prevail, Hollywood Undead, and Fit for a King will be opening up. Just for you folks out here in Florida, August 1st in Tampa at the Mid-Florida Credit Union. I hope to be there because I love Hailstorm. I don't really care about I Prevail or any of the other bands, but Lizzie and Hailstorm, I can see them every single time. I read an interesting story. Ricky Medlock of Leonard Skinner, really Blackfoot, but he did a little bit of Leonard Skinner. He was a little bit in there. He's actually pissed that he wasn't inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the rest of Leonard Skinner. Medlock, by the way, played drums and sang on Skinner from 71 to 72 before returning to his former band Blackfoot. He joined Skinner as a guitarist in 96 and has performed with them ever since. Medlock's drumming and vocals appeared on the 77 Street Survivors via an original 71 demo of One More Time, as well as the 78 compilation album Skinner First and Last, after singer Ronnie Van Zant and guitarist Steve Gaines and vocalist Casey Gaines were killed in a plane. Despite these contributions, the Rock Hall did not consider Medlock a classic era member of them and did not induct him. And I got to say, Ricky, you might be pissed, bro, but you didn't do enough to be there. I get you've played with them forever. That doesn't make you that, dude, because the great music they made, you weren't really a part of it. So you can't get credit for that. I get it. You've played with them forever, but you kind of made your bed. You went to Blackfoot. And Blackfoot I enjoy the hell out of Blackfoot, but they're not Hall of Fame worthy. So anyway. So what do you mean I forgot Andy Gibb? I said Andy Gibb right now. Big O, I'm convinced. Oh no, what is it? Could be my financial advisor. I'm old enough to remember people didn't want to overpay Wilkins last year, and now they're screaming, "Oh, pay whatever." And they also called him a bust the first year or two. Okay, because I used to have to take the calls, and it's like, well, bro, he's only here 1 year. It's like the people that say, well, Tua can't win playoff games. Well, he's only been in one game. And he lost to the world champions on their field in a cold-ass, situation. That's it. Terrible performance for him and the team. That's fine. That's it once. But it helps their argument to make it sound like he can't win playoff games. Like he's been there year after year after year and failed year after year after year, which then we can't defend anything. But it's just one time. One time. Terrible scenario and one time. But let's exaggerate. Let's do that. Because that's what makes sense, to exaggerate it. Ho Yoon, thank you for the love on Venmo, my friend. I appreciate you immensely. Very kind. Thank you, Ho Yoon. Have a great week, he says. Thank you, sir. Very, very kind. Okay? Appreciate that immensely. All right. What else do we have here? Let's see. I remember that there were some in the fan base that were calling the Wilkins pick a reach, but now those people will blame the team for not overpaying for him. Exactly. And when next year, if he doesn't live up to the contract, there'll be the people that'll say, because nobody, see, the beauty of being that person, right? If you're a member of the media or you're writing an article or you're on a radio station, people will remember what you say at times, right? But the average Joe out there, nobody keeps track with you. So at the end of the year, if he doesn't live up to the contract, instead of you complaining about Wilkins gone, or instead of you calling Wilkins a bust the first 2 years, you're going to go, wow, man, that was a good move by the Dolphins not signing him. But nobody's going to know that you really wanted Wilkins back, because nobody's keeping track of what you guys say. That's why you can complain and bitch and all that, because nobody's keeping track. And that's why you guys waffle from one thing to another. Same people calling him a bust are the same people complaining now. That's all. And by the way, if you use Tua for the Wilkins discussion, just kind of exposes your bias and where you're coming from. Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, come on. Okay? Come on. By the way, just a little preview there. Bitcoin halving in 43 days, 23 hours, 54 minutes, and 20 seconds. Bitcoin right now is at 65,321. It was at 69. How about that? Like I told you, I don't think the corrections will be major, but that $4,000 will come back right away. But, that's how it is. You have a little bit of a resistance. And right now, the all-time high is kind of a resistance. So eventually you'll figure it out. And you know how it is. You bust through the resistance at 20 and at 25 and at 28 and at 30 and at 35 and 40. And so this is the same kind of resistance. And eventually they'll bust through. And there you go. So you got your halving clock going on. Can't wait. Let's see. Comparing a defensive tackle to a QB's. Yeah, exactly. It's just ridiculous. Oh, I Googled Tangent Wallet, but which one do I buy? Buy the 3 cards. Okay? Buy the one with 3 cards. All right? Make sure you get because you want backups. Okay? So, yes, buy the 3 cards. It'll cost $99, I think it is. I think it's like 69 with 1 card, and then get the other 2 cards because you want to have the backups. You definitely want to have the backups. Don't be cheap. Don't be ridiculous. Get all 3 cards, okay? If you order the Tangem wallet, please get the one with the 3 cards. All right? You'll be good if you do that, my friends. You'll be fantastic. What about Javon Holland? I don't know what does that mean, Cap for Life? I don't know what that means. What's going on there? Elliot, come back, bro. I don't know. Something going on between you guys. Frankie says, I think Miami needs to trade Tyreek after this season. He'll be asking for more money. I don't think they'll give him any more money. I don't think so. And trading him will be even more, it'll be harder by next year because he'll have another year on him. And then he's got a lot of money. So I doubt you'll be able to do that. I think Tyreek Hill is here 2 more years and then he's gone. Cut, whatever. But I think it's like 2 more years that he's here and then he's gone. Because then that's when the Waddle salary will then kick in full time. Okay. That's why I keep telling you guys. Remember I told you that this year people were talking about, oh my God, it's cap hell. No, it's not. They'll be fine. They'll be able to do anything that they want to do this year. Next year, get a little harder, but doable. And then, 3 seasons from now, then it gets really difficult for them. So these next 2 years are really, really important for the Dolphins. Mickey J says, if you're going to transfer tokens back and forth from your wallet in exchange, pay close attention that you are sending it to the correct address. Yes. And in fact, what you should do is test it first with a small amount. And then once you whitelist the address, it's locked in, then you never have to do it again and just keep sending. But remember, also, you're gonna pay a gas fee. So whatever you have on that exchange, make sure you collect a certain amount, a good amount, so that way the gas fee doesn't really affect you too much. You don't want to move it every time you buy. You buy $50 and move it. No, man. You buy $50 now, you bought another $10 later, and then you bought another $80 then, and then you bought another $150, and then all of a sudden you got, $450, $800. Now you move it. You got a couple $1,000. Now you move it. You don't want to keep it there permanently, but you don't want to start moving every time you buy because you're also paying a gas fee. And then you're killing your profits. So you don't want to do that either. Okay? So there you go. Can start cleaning by trying to move on from Chubb. Why? Chubb played great last year. It was more McDaniel's fault that he screwed up leaving him in there. They need a pass rusher. He was playing really well last year. He was really important to the Dolphins. I disagree on that one, Lofi, 100% on that. Plus, he's injured now, so trading him now is ridiculous. There's no way you can trade him. You know what I'm saying? But he's not going anywhere. So, wow, Tangem is on sale, all 3, $69. Oh, then go for it, bro. Take advantage. It's going to take a couple weeks to get it. So, yeah, do it. All right, folks, we thank David Furones and Manny Navarro. We thank, of course, Sean Stanley, the man, the myth, the legend that puts it all together. Thank you all out there. Those of you that send in a super chat or you give us some love on Cash App or Venmo, which you can do that anytime you're watching or listening to the show. Cash App or Venmo. That's Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. We shall see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Same time, same place, same bat channel.